Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mac. Boys and girls, you are entering Boom Week. Yeah, it's like Shark Week, but no sharks, just booms. Unless the sharks go boom, and I don't know if they do, but it's Boom Week this week is what I'm saying. Got a few QPOs for you, and we're going to get started right on them because I'm super motivated. Let's do it. 2361, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is entitled Patriotic Flag, American Freedom. Then we got some numbers there. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. And then we get this quote from one of Reagan's speeches, and you may have seen it in the video from yesterday. For those of you who are asking, folks, it's right here on the Q page, right here in post 2356. There's the link right there. Let us reaffirm, America's destiny of goodness and goodwill. There it is right there. Post 2356. All right. Well, here's the quote from it. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. That's from Ronald Reagan. And then Q goes on to say, Boom Week. And here is some live footage of the Deep State's Plan B. Yeah, it's not starting off so well. Yeah, it went eerily similar to their Kavanaugh plan, and it doesn't look like this one's going to pan out. Yeah, the whole Russia narrative. No, I think that's going to fall apart this week, and we are going to see some big booms, and we're going to talk about a couple of those booms in the next post. Let's move on to post 2362. And we get this YouTube channel link right here, and this was posted at 50 minutes after the hour of 1 p.m.
Some of the things that were shared were explosive in nature. I mean, I couldn't believe that I was hearing some of the testimony that here in the United States that the DOJ and FBI were involved with.
During the time prior to the election, there was another source giving information directly to the FBI, which we found the source to be pretty explosive.
And this additional source, he's being identified as Michael Sussman, a former DOJ prosecutor with links to the Democratic National Committee. Sources say he reached out to the FBI to provide documents on Russian hacking. I'm back now with House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes. And Mr. Chairman, connect the dots for us to tell us why this is important here. We know that you've been investigating the origin of this investigation that took place into Trump and Russia collusion, which of course was never existent. So tell us why this James Baker news is important.
Well, it's very simple. James Baker was the top lawyer at the FBI, reported directly to James Comey. Numerous officials at the DOJ and the FBI have told us under oath that the FBI, nobody at FBI or DOJ knew anything about the Democratic Party being behind the Clinton dirt. Well, now you have one of the top lawyers for the Democrats and the Clinton campaign who was feeding information directly to the top lawyer at the FBI before even the FISA warrant. So now you have absolute proof that that wasn't told to the FISA court. So you want your evidence of FISA abuse? There it is right there.
Tell us what you're expecting from this meeting from Rod Rosenstein next week. You already interviewed Andrew McCabe. Does what McCabe said jive with what Rosenstein has told you?
Well, this is going to be the real question, right? You had the he said, she said, one in the New York Times where McCabe's people said that definitely Rod Rosenstein was wanting to wear a wire to go in and secretly record the President of the United States so that they could use the 25th Amendment to remove him. I mean, that's a bombshell of a claim, right? If you really had the Deputy Attorney General who's in charge of the Russia investigation, who appointed the special counsel willing to go do that. Now, in the Washington Post, you kind of had I didn't really say that. It seems like it was coming from Rosenstein and the Department of Justice's people. I really didn't say that. I was just joking. Now, I don't believe that's a joke. I don't think it's something you would joke about.
Yeah.
You know, pretty serious stuff that you say, I'm going to wear a wire and go in and secretly record the President of the United States.
Yeah. Does Rod Rosenstein have a problem?
Well, I think it all comes down to whether or not he was willing to wear a wire or not. If he was willing to wear a wire and secretly record the president, Maria, it's some place that this country's never been before. I don't know of any time in the history of this country where you had people who are at the top levels of government conspiring to secretly record a president so that you can trap the president into doing so, into being able to go after the 25th Amendment to remove the president. When Rosenstein appointed the special counsel, the lead investigators knew that there was no evidence of the Trump campaign colluding with the Russians. So what has the special counsel been doing this whole time? It really looks like it's pretty clear now that it is an investigation in search of a crime. Because the very thing the Trump campaign was investigated for, colluding with the Russians, we now know that it was the Democratic Party colluding with Russians and feeding it to the top levels of the FBI, the general counsel of the FBI.
Well, there you have it. Some more booms. Last week's news today. Well, if you've been following Anon, you would have known about this Sussman fella already. And as you could see by jacketless Jim Jordan there, he was pleased as punch to go ahead and announce that. I think they're getting really, really ready. They can move forward now. We have this Judge Kavanaugh confirmation in the bag. That is a done deal. And now it is time to move on to the next two steps, which is essentially FISA declass and Rod Rosenstein out the Dozenstein, right? So Rod Rowe going to be meeting this week. We'll have to see how it plays out. I'm not so sure that I don't think he'll be fired. I think he's going to probably be forced to resign at some point. We'll see how it plays out. It may take some more twists and turns, but the deep state is most certainly in a panic with this because this Sussman fella is directly linked to the Clintons, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Clinton in the next couple posts. But this is where it's all coming back. The Russian collusion has fallen apart, and of course they can't go crying China at this point either, really, can they? They are running out of options, so they basically got to double down on this plot that's falling apart right at the seams. Let's talk a little bit more about that in the next post. 2363. We get this Twitter link right here. Q says change is coming in brackets, and it takes you to Valerie. If she had a dog, she would scare it. Jarrett, who says, to all of the survivors of sexual assault and women who wonder if they will be believed if they are attacked, know there's a growing, powerful movement of support that will always have your back. We believe you. We will stand with you. We will defend you. Change is coming. And if you change your mind, we'll change our mind with you because you got this, girl. All right, well, you see what's going on. Valerie Jarrett rallying the troops. And I reminded her that Juanita Broderick says hi and thanks. All right, thanks for that. Well, look, let's check the commie meter on Valerie Jarrett. Looks like it might be off the scales. This is off of Judicial Watch, and we all know that Judicial Watch is Tom Fitton. They call him Tom Fitton because he's fitting to get us these documents right here. FBI files document communism in Valerie Jarrett's family. That's right. Federal Bureau of Investigation files obtained by Judicial Watch revealed that the dad, maternal grandpa, and father-in-law of President Obama's trusted senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett, were hardcore communists under investigation by the U.S. government. Jarrett's dad, pathologist and geneticist Dr. James Bauman, had extensive ties to communist associations and individuals. His lengthy FBI file shows. In 1950, Bauman was in communication with a paid Soviet agent named Alfred Stern, who fled to Prague after getting charged with espionage. Bauman was also a member of a communist sympathizing group called the Association of Interns and Medical Students. After his discharge from the Army Medical Corps in 1955, Bauman moved to Iran to work, the FBI records show. According to Bauman's government file, the Association of Interns and Medical Students is an organization that has long been faithful follower of the Communist Party line and engages in un-American activities. Bowman was born in Washington, D.C. and had deep ties to Chicago, where he often collaborated with fellow communists. J.W. also obtained documents on Bowman from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, OPM, showing that the FBI was brought in to investigate him for his membership in a group that follows the Communist Party line. The Jarrett family communist ties also include a business partnership between Jarrett's maternal grandpa, Robert Rochon Taylor, and Stern, the Soviet agent associated with her dad. Jarrett's father-in-law, Vernon Jarrett, was also another big-time Chicago communist, according to separate FBI files obtained by JW as part of a probe into the Jarrett family's communist ties. For a period of time, Vernon Jarrett appeared on the FBI's security index and was considered a potential communist saboteur who was to be arrested in the event of a conflict with the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. His FBI file reveals that he was assigned to write propaganda for a Communist Party front group in Chicago that would disseminate the Communist Party line among the middle class. It's been well documented that Valerie Jarrett, a Chicago lawyer and longtime Obama confidant, is a liberal extremist who wields tremendous power in the White House. Faithful to her roots, she still has connections to many communist and extremist groups, including the Muslim Brotherhood. Jarrett and her family also had strong ties to Frank Marshall Davis, a big Obama mentor and Communist Party member with an extensive FBI file. JW has exposed Valerie Jarrett's many transgressions over the years, including her role in covering up a scandalous gun-running operation carried out by the Department of Justice. Last fall, JW obtained public records that showed Jarrett was a key player in the effort to cover up that Attorney General Eric Holder lied to Congress about the Fast and Furious, a disastrous experiment in which the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives allowed guns from the U.S. to be smuggled into Mexico so they could eventually be traced to drug cartels. Instead, federal law enforcement officers lost track of hundreds of weapons, which have been used in an unknown number of crimes, including the murder of a U.S. Border Patrol agent in Arizona. In 2008, JW got documents linking Valerie Jarrett, who also served as co-chairman of Obama's presidential transition team, to a series of real estate scandals, including several housing projects operated by convicted felon and Obama fundraiser friend Antoine Tony Rezko. According to the documents obtained from the Illinois Secretary of State, Valerie Jarrett served as a board member for several organizations that provided funding and support for Chicago slum projects operated by Rezko. Well, Tom Fitton, this is for you. Kind of warms your heart, doesn't it? And now that your heart's all warm, let's give a warm, heartfelt goodbye to Valerie Jarrett. Goodbye, Valerie. Now, I don't know exactly how she's going to go away. If she's going to quietly go away, maybe get herself a quiet little boat to Cuba. Who knows? But it looks like Q is saying she is about to hit the road, her and all her deep state knucklehead connections. And she was pretty in deep. Yeah, I always suspected that she was essentially Obama's handler. Obama and his partner. But anyway, looks like she is about to drop on out of the picture, and maybe she's taking a couple swings before she goes. Maybe this tweet is a warning shot. Maybe this will be an attempt to rig the election, which is highly likely. But either way, it looks like Valerie Jarrett is time to say goodbye.
So exit, stage left.
Post 2364, 44 minutes after the hour of 3 p.m. Q gives us this Fox News graphic here regarding the IG report talking about the Hillary Clinton and Foundation crimes against children. And that is from page 294 of the IG report. This is the link right here. And here is the IG report here talking about this Randall Coleman, who is assistant director of the counterintelligence division at the FBI. Now, Q cues us in right here into this meeting between Comey and Coleman on October 4th. Coleman told us that he could not recall this briefing with Comey. Coleman's notes from October 4th contained the following entry. Number 1, Anthony Weiner. 2, unrelated. 3, Weiner, texting 15-year-old, sexually explicit. 926, federal SW, iPhone, iPad, laptop. Initial analysis of laptop showed thousands of emails. Hillary Clinton and Foundation, crimes against children. Now, remember, we've talked a lot about Alice in Wonderland, Hillary being the Alice and Saudi Arabia being Wonderland. Now we're talking about crimes against children, and we see these 3 pluses, which is always suggested to me, the House of Saud. We asked Coleman about these notes, and he told us that, given their placement in his notebook, the notes would most likely represent information he was briefed on first thing in the morning by his subordinates in the +++ criminal investigation +++. And if you see it over here, of course, you don't see those pluses there. Q added those, which leads me to think that they were investigating the House of Saud. Comey told us that he did not recall the briefing by Coleman reflected in his calendar. We asked Comey if this briefing could have been the time in early October that he recalled being told about the connection between Mid-Year and the Wiener investigation. Comey stated, "It's possible, this is what is knocking around in back of my head." Excuse me, but I know the frailty of memory from having done a lot of this work. At least in my memory, it's much more of an informal than a meeting about it, but it's possible. And that's Comey right there, sitting on the fence, right? We showed Coleman's notes from October 4th to Comey. Comey did not recall being briefed on the information contained in the notes. I do not recall. These people deserve to, and then we've got a set of kill brackets. Now, Q doesn't use these like kill brackets like Q used to, but if you're new to Q used to use these brackets a lot more kind of, implying that something was about to get killed off. Not necessarily someone, but something. But so I think that's what Q is implying there. These people deserve to. Yeah, these people are sick. We are the cure. Patriots in control. The world will know the truth. Q. So I really do hope that this is going to lead to some discoveries. We can start talking about what we really want to be talking about, which is the laptop, all the information that's on the laptop, all the information regarding Hillary Clinton and her foundation. I am hoping that maybe through Valerie Jarrett, they will start being able to show this connection with the Hillary Clinton Foundation. The rest of us already know. They're just not talking about it on the news. They're talking about it a little bit on Fox News. This popped up, I believe, around the IG report. I don't know if this is brand new or not. I don't see a date on this, but I seem to remember seeing this before, and then it just kind of got swept under the rug. We were talking about all sorts of other things, and even Fox News kind of chose to ignore it. But it's time for us to start talking about Huma Abedin, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and hopefully this will give us some peace in regards to Seth Rich. But now that Kavanaugh is basically a Supreme Court justice, we have got the green light to go ahead and start declassing. So Tom Fitton about to getting some documents. Let's move on to 2365. 2 minutes after the hour of midnight, we get this Twitter link here to Reuters status. It says more. U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo says North Korean leader Kim says he's ready to allow international inspectors to Punggye-ri site. Well, it's good news indeed, and of course the mainstream media won't tell you anything about it, but Pompeo was making the Asian rounds. He was over here in Tokyo, and there he is leaving Tokyo, waving goodbye to everybody. And there he is with Chairman Kim, and Chairman Kim looks he's like, yeah, these pants are kind of itchy. Oh, it's a little starchy is what I'm saying. And he's like, I know what you mean. You should get an Italian tailor. I know I should probably, but they don't let me around here. Am I still getting to McDonald's? And now you can see he's shaking hands with Moon Jae-in. And look at that. There you go. A couple of broskies right there. Now, Q has told us to watch the water. Look, we have a new, I don't know if this is the same room or not, but now we've got flowing waterfalls and all sorts of cool rapids. Nice looking. We had turbulent waters for a while, and then we had quiet waters back here. Now we've got thriving waters. Looks like they're changing the waters. I don't know if that's that same room, but it sure looks like it, doesn't it? Well, there you go. A couple of bros hanging out talking about denuclearization. Pompeo will be making his way to China, where they will also be discussing North Korea relations. And as you can see, one of the first orders of business in North Korea was to get a smaller table. Yeah, Chairman Kim's like, I'm struggling to reach that clock that's in the middle. It's just always taunting me right there. And of course, his sister over here on the right is like, I've been telling him for years, you're never going to reach that clock when you're that fat. And he's like, I know, I'm just saying. And the girl over here, she's writing it down. She's like, get a smaller table. Okay, I'm talking about nothing. All right, boys and girls, those are your Q posts. I'm keeping it rather short today as I've been running around getting ready to take a trip myself. That's all I got for you today. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all of those of you who have been doing that already. Thank you so much. Please, won't you join me here on Twitter if you're not already at IPOT1776. That's at IPOT1776. When I'm not making videos, I spend most of my time over here. My Real.Video, my BitChute, my Gab, all that stuff is down below, as well as my email and my Patreon link if you want to support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. All those links are down below. All right, kids, that is it for today. My name is Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, stay optimistic.